So welcome everyone. Thanks for joining us at Developer Growth Summit 2022, DGS 2022. This is Avoiding Burnout as a Developer, Practical Steps and Tools by Jen Looper. So it's normal that none of you can see each other, but if you are there, you can interact in the chat with each other and make sure you send it to everyone because the default is not set to everyone. So we want to make sure you guys can see each other. And if you have questions during the event, please feel free to type them in the Q&A. So you'll see that at the bottom, there's a little button that says Q&A. Add your questions there, and I'll get to those at the end, and we'll ask Jen your questions, all the questions you have. So just one note, please remember to adhere to our code of conduct. You'll see a link to that in the chat here. So we want to make sure everyone's having a great time. So without further ado, I would like to introduce our speaker today. This is Jen Looper. She is a Principal Cloud Developer Advocate Lead at Microsoft, a Google developer expert with over 22 years of experience as a web and mobile developer. And she is the founder of Front End Foxes, a nonprofit for diversity in dev space. Also, she is multilingual and a multiculturalist with a passion for web technologies, applied machine learning, and discovering new things every day. She has a PhD in medieval French literature. You can tell a little clue behind her on that little sign. And her area of focus is curriculum development and the application of sound pedagogy in technical topics. She's a lecturer in computer science at Boston University's Metropolitan College, and she's pursuing a master's education in curriculum and instruction. So that is a wonderful welcome to Jen Looper. So now I will hand it over to you to take things away.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that everyone's coming to just have a little session with me and chat about burnout. I'm going to be trying to watch the chat while I'm sharing my slides. I'd love to make this sort of a conversation with all of us. I think a lot of us are experiencing a lot of feelings. We're all up in our feelings, as we say, at this moment. And we're kind of coming out of pandemic, or getting into a new phase of the pandemic or some such thing. And at this point, nobody really even knows what day or month it is. We're at this point that I think we need to kind of stop for a second and take stock. So I would love for you to add your suggestions and your thoughts as I go through these slides. I'll take it nice and slow. We'll just have a nice conversational experience. So this is a talk that I actually gave a while ago in Greece as a keynote at Devox. That's right, Devox Thessaloniki. It was a wonderful experience, and we all miss our in-person events, but this talk is evergreen. And it always, I think, is pertinent to moments in our lives where we have just felt that we have had enough. So in this talk, I'm going to talk about some tips to recognize burnout in yourself, some tools to help mitigate the effects of burnout. We're going to do an exercise, and then I added on a little extra exercise at the end that I think we can all enjoy together that I have acquired. So let's go ahead and get started. So as you've heard, my name is Jen. I'm a Principal Education Cloud Advocate. I'm at Microsoft. I've been there for 3 years. But before that, I've been in different companies, medium-sized, big companies, nonprofits, educational institutions, and other sorts of companies, just kind of growing my way through my technical journey as a professional. I also founded and I'm the CEO of Front End Foxes, which is an international nonprofit. You can find us at frontendfoxes.school. We started out as a place where you could take free workshops affiliated to in-person conferences. Obviously, that business model had to change during the pandemic, so now we have a boot camp. It's something that we're always looking for help with, for mentoring, if you're already a professional or if you know of ladies who are looking to get into front-end development. Take a look at our next cohort, which is going to be in September, we think. We're also going to have a conference in September that everyone can join. You can always follow me on Twitter at Jen Looper, and I have a website at jenlooper.com. So let's get started. So like I said, I have 22 years of industry experience. It's been a long and winding road. I was in training to become a professor of medieval French. That is actually where my heart still is at. Even after all these years, I would love someday to go back to maybe teaching French. I don't know what'll happen. We'll have to see. But I love French literature. I love French culture, and I kind of grew up in that sphere. But at the end of the dot-com era, it just struck me after having been on the job market that there are literally no jobs to teach medieval French in the US. So I had to pivot, and I was lucky enough to get in at a time when it was, a little bit more straightforward, I think, than it is nowadays to break into the field as a complete noob. So like I said, I have a doctorate. I had one career switch, which is that switch from teaching to tech. I have one husband, I have two kids, and I've worked in 8, probably 9 companies at this point. And then I have the foundation that I run on the side, plus the teaching gig. So a lot going on. And it's been a roller coaster ride, as this image sort of indicates. There have been ups, there have been downs. There have been moments when I probably should have just walked away from a situation, but didn't. There have been many mistakes, many learnings in this kind of interesting and wild ride. So let's just talk about that wild ride of being a tech professional as you evolve your career. So like I like to say, it's all fun and games until you're crying in your cubicle. And this has happened to me several times. There's a certain amount of crying that happens in tech, and there's no shame in it, and it happens. There's a particular ladies' room at one of the companies I worked at, which was a gathering point for people who just needed to cry. And that's when you know that perhaps you need to consider evolving your job when you're crying in your cubicle. That's not a good sign. So what I'd like to do is just take a moment and ask you how you're feeling. How are you really feeling? This is not, when you come home from school and mom is like, hey, how you feeling? How you doing? How was school today? This is when you need to think about deep down inside, how are you really feeling? And where are you mentally at this point? So just take a moment to kind of check in. You can use one of those mental models where you have the emojis of the smiley face, the kind of medium face and the sad face. Give yourself a little emoji. In fact, if you want to put your emoji in chat, use one of those three emoji. Just how are you feeling today? Just check in with yourself. And like I said, this is a talk that I gave in Greece. We were pretty close to, the Delphic Oracle at that point, in Thessaloniki. And at one point I knew how to say this word in Greek, but it is that Platonic idea that you need to truly know yourself to evolve as a person. Know your strengths and weaknesses, check in with your feelings, check in with yourself, and just be dialed into your current reality. I have always made the mistake of hustling, buying into hustle culture, and really trying to always look for that next greener grass, that next gig, that next paycheck, that next opportunity, which is laudable. That's a good thing to do. But if you get obsessed with what's next, you're going to lose what's present, right? And that's something I think that is really a risk in our corporate lifestyles, in our capitalistic culture, at least in the US, that we sometimes forget to just stop and check in and just think about yourself. Take some time for yourself. So let's talk about signs of burnout. Recently, there was a study on this. It was called the state of burnout. You've seen the state of JavaScript and the state of CSS. There was the state of burnout, actually, that came through. Extremely interesting read. I'll try to find the link for you all and put it in the chat. And it talked about, especially interestingly, women in tech have experienced burnout at somewhat higher rates. It was a call to action for their mentors and their management to check in on their employees and differentiate a little bit. But signs of burnout as you check in might look something like this. Maybe you're having trouble relaxing. I could not sleep last night, and I know the signs. Like, I know what's going on. It's coming back, right? Headaches, backaches, physical pain. I have discovered that if I'm really under stress, my back sizes up, and it's really, really bad. It just crunches. The muscles just like contract and refuse to relax because you're so wound up. Check in with your attitudes at work. Do you have this idea, this kind of negative attitude? Are you very cynical about your work? Do you self-criticize? Do you criticize your colleagues? Are you full of these negative thoughts? Do you have any kind of dependence on external helps, so-called helps, which are actually harms? Dependence on alcohol. I have found, and a lot of my friends have found, that during pandemic, because there is nothing else to do in the evening, that the drinking has gone way up. Statistically, I know in the US, the amount of alcohol consumption has gone way up, and that is really, really bad. So watch yourself for kind of dependencies to kind of crop up in your life. Do you find that you have a lot of anxiety? Is your anxiety seizing up your back or your muscles? Do you find your muscles just tensing? Do you seem really, really tired? Are you just so tired? Are you demotivated? These might be signs of burnout. And I want to just pause here for a second, because there was a really interesting Twitter thread that Sarah Drasner started a couple of days ago on the, not so much the signs of burnout, but the causes of burnout. And this is very interesting, and I don't really have a slide around this, but I just wanted to pause and discuss a little bit with you why we burn out. And the general thought is, well, it's because you're overworked. You have too much thrown at your head. You're dealing with too many hours of work in a day. In pandemic, a lot of us did a lot of side hustles. I'm writing a book. I'm teaching at Boston Met College. Where a lot of us are rage writing. It's interesting, a lot of writing of books. But we're taking on more and more and more and more work because we're not commuting, but it's cutting into our personal time. So that is part of the problem, I think. And you have to watch yourself and know yourself, the amount of work you can handle. But the real cause of burnout, we're thinking, has to do with a misalignment of where you're supposed to be according to external factors and where you are and where you want to be. So if there's this kind of interesting misalignment between, you and your supervisors and your supervisors' supervisors and your own ideas about your career path, that can cause all of these signs of burnout, all of these, like I can't sleep, I can't relax, my back is killing me. I gave up alcohol, so that's not an issue anymore. But the exhaustion and the demotivation might be caused by something like this, some misalignment. So I just want to give that as an idea. But if you're feeling any of these things as you check in with yourself, do you think you're getting close? Do you think you're getting close to, having these physical manifestations of your inner turmoil? And if so, there are a couple of things that might be leading to your burnout. I talked about the things that we were talking about on Twitter the other day. Here are a couple other things that specifically for developers can lead to burnout. And one of them is imposter syndrome, which a lot of us know about. We've talked about this. A lot of us have it. When you're given a task and you instantly just start worrying about it, you experience this self-doubt. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I can handle this. I don't know if I'm qualified. I don't know if I have the skills. Maybe I should just pass this on to my colleague. And you just start to worry. And then you either over-prepare or procrastinate, right? So you overdo it. Instead of just doing the thing, you do all the things around the thing instead of the thing, or you just procrastinate, right? And then something falls apart and you're given another task and you go into this cycle of this feeling that you're just inadequate. So this is something that can really, again, check yourself for imposter syndrome. Nobody in this chat, in these 75 participants in this chat is an imposter. I can guarantee you, we all belong. We all belong here. And then for developers, there's another thing that I think is interesting, and this was suggested to me by a friend. This is not an official syndrome, but it's something we call the real developer syndrome. So I'm not a real developer unless I'm coding 24/7. I have to be online all the time. I have to do one more ticket than that guy, right? And I have to just ship and ship and ship and ship. And I'm a machine. I'm an android. This is extremely harmful to your work-life balance, to your mental health, and will 100% lead to workout. It might lead to a workout, but it will definitely lead to burnout. And this is the overwork piece, not so much the misalignment, but something to watch out for. So I just want to mention that, again, reaching back to the Greek origins, I'm not the Oracle of Delphi. I'm just a person who has experienced a lot of tech, climbing around in the tech ladder, and has experienced a lot of burnout, a lot of imposter syndrome, and a lot of real developer syndrome. I just would suggest that, yes, it's great to talk to your coworkers and your friends in tech, in your various social outlets, but do seek professional help if you really think that you're approaching a level of burnout. And it's nice that a lot of companies are taking mental health much more seriously these days. At Microsoft, we have something like 5 mental health days that are kind of bundled into our sick leave. And I really appreciate that. That's nice. So you don't have to sort of justify, you just take the time that you need, which is really helpful. I just wanted to then sort of pivot to give you some suggestions on some things that sort of worked for me, some practical tips and practical tools, because we are technologists and sometimes we tend to think about, tech helps that we use to kind of calm ourselves down, but there are other things you can do as well. And I just want to mention a couple of things that have worked for me. By the way, Earth Day is tomorrow. And I wish you in advance yes, we have our ice cream plant. We have our Pothos plants here who are listening in. They've listened to so many meetings, they probably, are extremely skilled developers at this point. But be green, surround yourself with green things, surround yourself with plants. These are really easy to propagate. I just got these little glass things off of Amazon. I think the whole thing cost $30 and now I'm surrounded with green. And it's a nice kind of like atmospheric change. I also took a class on Airbnb with a lady in Kyoto. So it was all done via Zoom to learn how to do Japanese flower arrangements. It's called ikebana. And it's like the 3 pieces. And then there's like the frog thing at the bottom in a bowl. And you just, can very calmly arrange flowers. And because they're quite tall stems, you have to really do a little balancing act. So you're kind of balancing the flowers in this small base, and you have to absolutely focus on working with the flowers. And it's been scientifically proven, I heard, according to my ikebana teacher, that touching flowers or touching green leaves will lower your blood pressure and your heart rate. So someone fact checked me on that, but I firmly believe, so, I'm like constantly having a little communication with my plants. So I do recommend that you surround yourself with green things. Go outside if you can, and just relax. This is the classic one. Everyone wants to work out if you can. This was my gym before pandemic when there were actually people there, but all the way through I went to this gym to do kickboxing. And I wonder sometimes if this kind of violent workout is not a great, thing for my mood. So I'm pivoting towards yoga now, but maybe there is a workout that you really enjoy. Maybe it's, I don't know, Peloton has gotten really popular, the stationary bike kind of classes, but definitely getting yourself into a workout regimen, not to bulk up or, but just to feel better and loosen up and unjack your back. I did yoga yesterday to unjack my back and that really helped. And there's the nice thing about the current situation is the gyms have opened up to Zoom classes. So you can dial into a gym and, take a class and even just use body weights to have a little workout if you don't want to go to a gym. So lots of opportunities to work out, or to be perfectly honest, just go for a walk. Strongly suggest. In fact, right after this, I'm going for a walk. This is a fun slide because it speaks to my personal passion for dance. I love to dance when I can. And I would just suggest that you look within yourself and think about interesting hobbies that you could start. Pandemic has really opened up the door. TikTok has opened up the door. I do really watch probably too much TikTok. I'm actually trying to cut back so we're not doom scrolling. But if you find interesting hobbies from all these creative TikTokers, you can really be inspired. And dance might be one of them, or there's all kinds of other stuff you can do. Pottery, crochet. I like to make little crochet hats for my cat. This is just a thing that I like to do. She doesn't like it, but I like it, and that's what matters. So, lots of things to try to do. This is an image of our first cohort of instructors. This is an invitation to you to find your squad, to find the people that you really enjoy hanging out with, and to try to maintain your connections with actual people. Now we can maybe actually go to a coffee shop and actually meet someone for coffee. But even if not, you know, a lot of us are trying to rebuild the communities. In the pandemic, communities have collapsed. I look at Boston JavaScript Slack and it's Deadsville. I'm sure that a lot of folks you know, are looking at your local communities and trying to figure out, where is everybody? Hello, you know, trying to figure out where everybody's gone. We did an in-person meetup at Boston Vue.js, and it was amazing. It was really tiring because we're not used to, you know, interacting with humans anymore. But try to make connections with people. Try to reach out to that colleague that you haven't talked to for a while, and just have a little chat. Just have a little coffee chat. People are important. We are primates. We are people who are social. So we are people who need people. Here's an invitation to take care of something or someone else. I guarantee that if you get a dog or a cat, they will be taking care of you more than you will, well, maybe equivalent to however much you're taking care of them. My cat knows when I'm feeling sick, and she'll come and lie on my chest and purr, because they do that. They heal you with their purring. It's pretty cool. But even a little hamster, you know, even a little pet, just be responsible about your pets. Strong advice: get off social media. I need to take my own advice and get off TikTok. I'm JavaScript auntie on TikTok, and it's very, very cool and fun, but it's also a huge time suck, and it's not super productive, except on TikTok with the recipes. I have to say I'm a much better cook because of the cooks on TikTok that are amazing. But Twitter is just straight up doom scrolling. Facebook is really become problematic in a lot of domains, and I don't even, who's on Google Plus at this point, right? But ease off the social media, just clock your time. Maybe put a little timer, and make sure you're not spending too much time on social media. For me, I'm a very visual and tactile person. I love to create, I love to paint, I love to crochet. Here's one of my little terrariums that I painted, and I surround myself with art. I've been experimenting with gouache, and oh, I get this off the wall as a little lemon, but lots of beautiful things that you can paint. And the beautiful thing about having Amazon is we can buy beautiful gouache paints and just go to town. And then, of course, on TikTok, there's plenty of tutorials on how to do these things. So teach yourself something new. My daughter taught herself how to crochet on the plane back from Stockholm, you know, just like, and now she's crocheting cat beds just because, you know, freestyling. But create something. We are also creative creatures. That's what makes us human in part. If you like, but don't stress about it, if you like, you could try a side project. There's a lot of stuff to do. I love organizations like Code for America, which does civic hacking, but there's also user groups which really need to be revived around creative coding. Creating art and music with code. There's so much we can do. It merges that creative aspect plus your technology, and then you can build out a portfolio, and you never know what these things will lead to. So just try a side project, and you know, don't stress about it, but just try. You can try cat curling, learn something new. This is a new Olympic sport, curling the cats, but no, I think it's a weird meme, but try something new. Make a goal to learn something new every day and try something new every week. See what happens if you can. So what is a new thing that you could learn? And it doesn't have to be a technical thing. It could be though, if you really love that. Like I've always said, embrace the arts. We are creative folks. Some of the best technologists I know are fantastic artists and musicians. There's something about the way the brain is wired. I don't know. I think someone needs to study this and do a PhD on it. But a lot of really creative people are in tech, and there's a lot of great things that we can create together. Okay, so those are the tips. Let's move on to tools. I'm going to pause and I'll just take a peek at. Okay, so there's a question. Let me answer this question from Sadie. How do you break the imposter syndrome cycle? I'm stuck in the procrastination mode and having trouble getting out. I'm starting to ruminate. Oh, I feel you. I think that you should stop what you're doing that's causing you to procrastinate and try to reboot your brain with one of these tips. So buy some kind of art set or or look up origami on TikTok and just see what you can create. I really think that this will help a little bit. Give that a try and see if it makes you feel any better. Try any of these things, because what you need to do is you need to reboot your brain a little bit, because you're completely stuck and it's like tunnel vision. So we need to like get rid of that tunnel and just focus on something else. And then you'll come back refreshed. For me, I really need to get out of this office. I said, this is my closet that I retrofitted as an office. And I can only tolerate being in here for like an hour at a time. I have to reboot my brain. It gets very claustrophobic. So try to reset and reboot. Let's talk about tools. So we are tech folks, and we think that sometimes tech things, might work for us to sort of, help reboot our brain, like I was mentioning. So let's talk about some of those things that that can help. There are a lot of great apps. A lot of us are using Headspace. I think the story behind Headspace is amazing. It's a Buddhist monk who created this amazing app, and he must be the wealthiest Buddhist monk in the world. I've seen Headspace embedded in JetBlue terminals so that you can do Headspace while you're flying. It's incredible. It's so popular. But in terms of meditation, I actually kind of prefer Insight Timer. It's another app free that you can download, and it has different meditations from all different kinds of gurus that you can follow. And you can really, it's a little bit like crowdsourcing meditation, and it has some nice customizations. So try Insight Timer. It's another very good one. Stop, Think, and Breathe, I just discovered is going to be sunsetted, but it was a nice meditation app. I think there's a consolidation of meditation apps right now. Calm is another big one that got kind of big recently. So lots of business plans around it. If you are in a Slack environment, there are some really cool Slack bots that are really fun. And you could try Flexbot, which encourages people in your workspace, if they subscribe to the bot, to try yogic breathing, or to check in with their headspace, check in with their breathing, check in with their posture. So consider asking your Slack admin to try a couple of interesting Slack bots. There are some fantastic Twitter accounts, and I just told you to get off Twitter, but I'm going to remind you to get on Twitter and follow a couple of accounts. One of them is Calming Sphere. This is by a creator who does all kinds of really cool Twitter bots. She has another one called, I think it's called Quiet Landscapes, and it's sort of like the Calming Sphere, but it's just like AI generated landscapes that you can just look at because that's nice. The Tiny Care bot is another one you can follow, and it gives you reminders to check your posture, kind of like that Slack bot I mentioned. Cute Emergency. So the real goal of the internet is to fill it with cute animals. So this is one of the wonderful accounts, 9.9 million followers who just want cute animals in their Twitter feed, to drown out the other weird stuff that goes on Twitter. So lots and lots of, there's also lizards every hour, there's Hourly Fox, bunnies and kittens and all sorts of cute animals. So I strongly recommend those follows. This is a tip from a friend of mine on Insta. If you have an Instagram account, you just fill it with a wall of cute animals. And then every time you open Insta, you're just, you're looking at cute animals instead of people making you feel bad because you don't look like, supermodel. So lots of fun things to look at there. Wearables, Apple Watch, very useful for checking your heart rate. And there is another wearable which a lot of my friends are buying. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called the Oya ring, and it's kind of a thick black colored ring that you wear, and you can connect it to your Apple Watch. But it's very fine-tuned checking of your heart rate and your vital signs. So lots of interesting things you can do with wearables. I'm not obsessively checking my heart rate all the time, but I think it's a good thing to have just to kind of have some stats around your health. Here's a classic book that some people really enjoy. If You're So Smart, Why Aren't You Happy? It might be worth a read. How to Turn Career Success into Life Success. A lot of us are very successful developers. We earn lots of money, and a lot of people are still miserably unhappy. So it's something to think about why. In terms of not overworking and kind of managing your time as part of a strategy to make yourself kind of more present in the current day, you might think about time boxing your work. Some people really enjoy the Pomodoro method, which was named after the little tomato timer like this. And you decide on the task to be done. You set your Pomodoro timer to 25 minutes, work on the task, and then end the work when the timer rings. And then you put a check mark on a piece of paper and you take breaks. So you can have this kind of accomplishment list at the end of the day. Pranita, this might be something to looking at the Q&A, this might be something that might help you with your procrastination, because Pranita is saying, do you have any tips to stop procrastinating at work? I think I have the opposite issue. I just never get the things done that needs to get done. One thing I do is I have a top 3 things. If I can just accomplish 3 things a day, then I'm happy. And I've decided I'm going to be happy. I don't know what my manager has decided, but I've decided I'm going to be happy. So, and Pomodoro can help you with that. That's a good technique. And I have acquired a record player to help me with my Pomodoro. So I have Chopin playing, and one side of my record is my Pomodoro. And then I have to get up to flip the record, and that's the end of the Pomodoro cycle. So if you get yourself a little record player, this was a tip from my colleague in Bulgaria. It really works because also you have to get up and change the record. So this comes back to stress level monitoring. Well, Tori is still an app in the App Store that you can get, and it connects to your health stats. It gives you lots of interesting readings if you're a stats kind of person and you're interested in how your body's doing actually. Some people stress over checking this kind of stuff, so you have to, again, know yourself and know what works for you. Here's a course that you might enjoy on Coursera. It's called A Life of Happiness and Fulfillment. If you're interested in sort of thinking about psychology and thinking about how things work in the real world, and according to social science, you might want to check out this course. And then back to creation, art apps. Inktober is a big moment on Twitter where you can you're given a month worth of prompts on drawing, and then you can be inspired by all the amazing pen and ink artists out there. Inktober is a big one. This was created with paper, which was when the paper app was popular. I think they got crushed by Procreate, but Procreate is absolutely worth every penny. Strong recommend for Procreate as an app if you have an iPad and Apple Pencil. So those are some tips and some tricks and some ideas that might help you a little bit to kind of check in with yourself and calm down, because you know what, we only have one life to live and it's not worth stressing out, oh my goodness. But I thought what we could do is to try a little technique here. This is from Quiet Kit. It's called box breathing, and it's something that that apparently they do it in the military to calm people down on the battlefield. I don't know, this is anecdotal, this is what I heard. But you basically, there's a couple ways to do this, but you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, and hold for 4. So we'll get to the bottom and try. Okay, ready? So we're going to breathe in. Hold it. And breathe out. And hold it. One more time. Do you feel a little bit better? I feel a little bit better. I think my heart rate went down a little bit. That's a really useful thing before you give a conference talk, just to do a little box breathing, or before you have to go in front of your manager or in front of your colleagues. Just practice these techniques. There's also a technique where you breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 6, and then breathe in, so you don't hold it at the bottom. So there's other techniques out there for box breathing or yogic breathing. So just try, see what works for you, but be aware of your breath. Be aware of your the state of your body, how you're doing. Where is your neck? Where is your jaw? Are you clenching your jaw? Where's your tongue? A powerful place for your tongue is to put it right behind your top teeth. I think they call that a fire point. And this really makes you aware of what's going on in your entire head. It's like a focal point. Really interesting techniques to try. Great. And most importantly, know yourself, know thyself. So I just want everybody to kind of check in with themselves, make sure you're okay. We all hope you're okay. And we all have to live our life and we only get one life. So try to make yourself happy. So I'd just like to close this talk with a little practice on my singing bowl. I know this is very crunchy, so bear with me, but I have a little bowl that I got. It was just off Amazon. You know, it's nothing really special. I think actually the new age movement has fetishized these bowls a little bit. I think they're just like food bowls, but but they make a really pretty sound. And it's nice to kind of use these singing bowls and try to make them sing, but also just to enjoy the sound and the vibrations. So I'll go ahead and hold it next to my microphone and just try to make it sing. Let's see if we can do it. Let's go a little louder. So that's my little gift to you for today. And I hope that it made you feel just a little bit better. You can grab a singing bowl for yourself. The mythology is that the singing bowl has to choose you. You don't choose the singing bowl. It's very Hogwarts. I don't know if this is true. I just got mine off Amazon and it seems to be happy. So this is another new thing that you can try. And it's sort of like a musical instrument that you can play whenever you need to. You can treat it as a sacred object. Don't put it on the floor. I just keep mine right here on a little cushion in my office, my closet with my plants. So I hope everybody has an awesome day. Oh, sorry, Nate, your dog is freaking out in a good way or a bad way. Isn't it funny how animals react to sounds? My cat will sometimes come right to the crack in the door here and poke her paw through at 5 in the evening because that's time to feed her. So she knows. They know, and they are our guardians. Great.
My dogs do. I was gonna say my dogs do the same thing, Jen. Yes, they wait. They know it's 9 p.m. I feed them in the evening.
Yeah. I can. Let me stop sharing my screen. Oh, sorry. This is the thank you screen. I will try to put a couple. Can I answer live?
Yes, you can. I was going to say, we do have time for Q&A. So we do have one question and people can continue to add questions if they do have them. Go ahead.
Let me see if I can pause share. Okay, let me go to Amazon. Let me get you the link.
As you're looking for that, Jen, I just wanted to say thank you. I think we all learned so much about how to be proactive in preventing burnout and learning signs like when to recognize burnout in ourselves and really understanding ourselves and really thinking about taking a step back and thinking about how we're really feeling. So really appreciate all of your tips and sharing your own experience. We will have time for questions, but if anyone has them, please add them to the Q&A section.
I would love to put in the chat. Let me see if I can open up the
sure.
chat. Oh, here it is. Okay, so here's the link to the singing bowl. There it is. It looks like this. So, yeah, you know, $30. Yeah, I'd love to open up the floor for any ideas. Vince, you don't like cute animals. Yeah, Stop, Think, and Breathe is a classic, and I noticed I opened it up the other day, and they're going to stop. They're going to stop showing. Yeah, Vince. New things to learn. It really depends on your thought process and how you feel. If learning a new thing every day is not for you, then that's totally fine. Oh, Sophia, you like to work with clay? Yes. Pickleball, yeah, pickleball is a new thing. I've heard it's really cool.
There's There's one
Um,
question in the Q&A about if you can share the slides. It's up to you if it's something that you can do, or someone wants to look at the activities. Perhaps we could also just share the activities you listed after.
yeah, I have all my slides on GitHub. So let me pause the share and I'll get you a link. Da-da-da. Well, I thought I did. I'm going to have to rejigger this a little bit.
You can always send it to us after, Jen, and then we can
Yeah.
share with the audience and the community.
Yeah, sounds good. I'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think we'll hang out for another minute or two. And I just want to remind everyone that we do have a swag giveaway. So if there's something you learned from this session or any of the sessions, go ahead and share it on social. I know Jen says, limit your time to social, but if it's something you learned and you can share with other people, we encourage you to do that and use the hashtag DGS2022. And you actually might win something. Our team will be looking out and sending some swag out to some lucky people who do share. So, and if you are a speaker and you would like to do an event of your own like this, please check out Codementor Events homepage, and all the links are in the chat because we welcome everyone to host their own events. So yeah, if there's any final questions, please drop those in there. And there is another event happening next, which is leveraging async and await in modern Python by Michael Kennedy. That will be happening at 10 a.m. Pacific time. So hope to see you there. All right, so if there's no further questions, I think we do have the links for how you can connect with Jen. So Jen, what is the best way for people to connect with you if they want to kind of reach out after? I know we have your Twitter and LinkedIn that we've shared in the chat. Which one is the best? Yeah,
either Twitter or LinkedIn is fine. Probably LinkedIn is easier for a quick chat. Twitter is this whole, drama. Yeah, so just reach out. And somebody was mentioning that I have Wordle. I also have, here's another tip for you. If you love Radio Garden, let me resume sharing my screen. Radio Garden, have you also discovered this amazing website? Here's a great place to relax. I'm constantly in Cairo listening to amazing music from Cairo because I love Egyptian music. So go to Radio Garden and just enjoy radio.garden. So I just love thinking of all the weird stuff in my board here. And then if you could just choose one hobby to prevent burnout, which would you recommend? Something that uses more brain power, reading, playing chess, or something more artistic like drawing? Depends on your brain configuration. Some people would just love to solve math problems all day, or do algorithmic equations. That's not my bag. For me, I really, really love to paint because it takes huge amount of focus, and there has to be a direct line from brain to eye to hand. So it just forces you to really focus. And I'm not that great at it, but practice makes perfect. I think that is a more helpful activity than something like crochet for me, which is very repetitive. Crochet is a way to just keep your hands mindlessly busy for me. These kind of repetitive things. It really depends on where you want your brain to go. If you just want to have a calming, relaxing, not too heavy brain activity, making something repetitive like that would be nice. But if you want that absolute take my mind off of work, I recommend some kind of fine arts. Really, really fun. Actually, one of the toughest fine arts I've ever done is Chinese brush painting because there is no room for error at all. That brush is down and it's down. You ruined the rice paper or you didn't. So that's why gouache is nice, because unlike watercolor, you can pick up the paint and and redo it. So hats off to all the Chinese brush painters out there, because talk about focus. Cool. Thanks, everybody.
Yes, well, thank you, everyone. And thank you, Jen. This is the official end of the session. And we thank everyone for joining us, especially Jen. We learned a lot and hope to see you again sometime at Codementor Events in the future.
Sounds great. Everybody have a nice day.
And this room will stay open for another 5 minutes, and we'll put on the screen for the information for the next session if you're interested. So Jen, you're free to go. And yeah, have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.